All right, let's call this meeting to order. I think all of the snowbound folks have managed to get here or are on their way. We have a quorum available. I will go ahead and call the roll since our county attorney, who usually does this, is in a call and will be here as soon as he can free himself up from that call. So, Randy Cassidy?
Yep, Randy Cassidy present.
Present. Harris Kiesling present.
Present.
Tucker's present. I am present. Richard. Is Colin online? In an email he was going to come online, but I don't see him yet. Okay.
We could find it because I couldn't find it.
Okay. And we have Lisa with us for the county, and Jeff will be here shortly. All right. This is one of those meetings in which we are favored with a presentation from the Richmond Bean Blossom Community School Corporation, where we do provide some funding for their STEM and STEAM programs. And I'm going to turn this over to the superintendent of the school corporation over there. Does the audience have a copy of this they can put up on the screen?
I sent one to Jeff Cockrell, so.
Okay, so does IT have this presentation? No. Well, let's get started and we'll see if we can get it to you while we're going.
Here it is.
Oh, okay, that's it. That was it. Where did it go?
Lost him.
There we go. Yeah, all right.
All right.
There you go. Thank you.
Well, I'm Jerry Sanders, superintendent at Edgewood Schools, and once again, it's such a pleasure to come and report to this very, very important organization. And I hope that, I don't know how many years we've been doing this, but I hope that you could see and think back to maybe some of the beginning reports and where we are today. It continues to grow and expand in ways that we really never could have imagined. Now, I'm going to do something really different tonight, and that is I'm going to try to stop talking right now because I usually go on and on and on, and then my team has like 5 minutes at the end to say something. So I've got things to say, but I'm going to let them get started, and I'll jump in.
Realize that his team loves to hear him talk.
That's okay, because the last time he was here by himself and you weren't here. So
That's
now
right.
you're going to make up for
I know.
Good
If I
time you weren't
remember
here.
right,
Very
was it
good
fall
point.
break? I think it was fall break. I offered to fly home early, and he just looked at me like I was crazy. So, yes, I'm sure I was off somewhere with my family doing something fun over fall break. So, well, thank you again for having us. We do look forward to giving you guys this report. This is one that you, as a commission, have been able to help us grow something that started out pretty minimal. It really started out with one person, and for all of you who are in our community working in different areas, businesses, we know that people are the key to planting the seeds, watering the seeds, and watching them grow. And Jamie Miller was really the start of all of this many, many years ago. Dr. Wilcox, Jason Blatzinger. And so what has happened is that you have helped to plant a seed, you've helped to water it, and now we get to share it with you as it grows. A lot of what you pay for through the commission is the work that we do every single day. So I'm going to go through, you know a lot about us at Edgewood, you know about our graduate profile, you know about our design labs, you know about, a lot of these pieces that we come in and talk about a lot. So today we're going to actually talk more about how these pieces are embedded in what we do and that they are no longer just a separate program that we run. So I'm actually going to start talking today about the high reliability schools, which we started to talk about last time. So if that next slide can come up. One thing with schools, and my husband gives me a hard time about this, he would laugh if he was listening in right now. He says, you're a school, but you act like you want to run like a business. And I said, well, we do have to run like a business. We have a budget like a business. We employ people. The difference is my husband's outcome is flooring. Our outcome is human beings. They are little tiny, all the way up to many adult human beings. Those are our outcomes. And so when we're thinking about being a highly reliable system, we're really thinking about producing an outcome as far as a student who walks out of Edgewood prepared to possibly walk into Cassidy Electric, walk into Cook Medical, walk into IU Health, walk into Ivy Tech for 2 years of training, whatever that might look like. Our goal is to make sure that we have those students prepared for that. That is our outcome. That's the stamp that we're putting on these students and the mark that we're making here in Monroe County. So right now we are working in level 1. We actually have 2 schools going for certification in level 1, safe, supportive, and collaborative culture. You would think this would be an easy one for a school, but this is really digging deep, pulling back the curtain, looking at our processes, looking at our systems, evaluating ourselves, figuring out what's working, what isn't working. And what we have found is that our teachers are really starting to take the reins of this process. They're the ones digging deeper. They're the ones saying we can do this better. And it's been a lot of fun to watch this grow over the last year. And taking a step back, as hard as it is, and letting them really guide the work for us. So when we talk about that outcome and we talk about what we're looking for, we're really thinking about that Edgewood-ready graduate. We're thinking about students graduating with a solid foundation in math and English language arts. We know that starts in kindergarten. I have conversations with kindergarten teachers, and I laugh when they say, we really don't do anything with career readiness. And I think, oh my gosh, you guys are the foundation. If they can't add, if they can't read, if they can't start to build this collaborative and communication skills, where does it start? And so this is really how we think about putting our stamp on these students, whether it's Mrs. Truax in kindergarten or Mrs. Goss in second grade, whoever it might be as they're coming up through, they're putting their stamp of approval on these students. And so we're thinking about that foundation academically. We're thinking about opportunities for them to explore passions, interests. This is where our STEM comes in. It's no longer just a program. It's part of our classes. It's part of our electives. It's part of activities that our students are doing in their reading units and in their math units. We're thinking about strong employability skills. One thing that we keep hearing through our business leaders advisory is students coming from Edgewood are ready to step into the workforce. They have the employability skills, the maturity to be able to take on responsibilities as an adult. And so we are intentional about building those into everything that we do. We will also be starting micro-credentials. So if you're familiar with micro-credentials, it's a way to measure technical skills and also employability skills. So instead of us just talking about what we do with kids, we can actually measure what we're doing with students. And then also for some students, that's college credits. We are proud to say that we are an ICC school, which is an Indiana college core school, and that means that our students can graduate with 30 credits to take into any public university here in Indiana with them. So that puts us a step above in terms of our students being ready if their next step is college. And then, of course, partnerships with industries in our area. And I'm not talking about partnerships for the adults. I'm truly talking about partnerships for our students. And that's important. That's how we keep them here in Monroe County. So in terms of how we actually measure that, you'll see a little example there of an Edgewood-ready third grader. And in that, you're going to see skills that every third grader should have in math, skills that every third grader should have in English language arts. And I think sometimes those skills are just as important, maybe not quite as important as what you see in the next 2 columns. The next 2 columns are really about I can communicate. I can listen, restate, and contribute with my own ideas. I can keep trying when lessons and tasks are difficult. I think we would all agree that these are skills that all students, all adults should possess in some way, shape, or form. And then social emotional. Sometimes when we talk about social emotional, it can get caught in some other areas. And really, we're just talking about students' mental health. We're talking about students, can they be respectful learners? Can they be kind to those sitting next to them? Can they be assertive? Can they identify others' feelings, understand others' perspectives? And so these are things that we intentionally work on in these grade levels and give them practice in, so that we can make sure that as that student is coming out and that's our outcome and we're putting our Edgewood stamp on that student, we know that we can certify that that student has been through a rigorous load of academics and other skills to make sure that they're prepared. I'm going to pass off to one of our Ready Schools coaches, Megan Scott, over here, and she's going to take you through some celebrations that we've had since we met with you. Really, since April is where we started building these up, so within the last 9-10 months.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So yes, we do have several things to celebrate that we've outlined on these next couple of slides that we wanted to just call to your attention. And as part of the high reliability schools process that Jen was talking about, and aligning that to almost a business model where you are looking at businesses that really can't afford to fail. And we try to view that as our role as well, that we cannot afford to fail in the role of educators. We cannot afford to let any of our students be forgotten or be left behind. So we are, as part of that process, looking to have that alignment K-12 with how we talk about instruction, how we talk about the career readiness skills that they need. And you can see that our instructional framework that we have adopted as part of this process is a big shift that we have had this past year. We've also been reevaluating how we are evaluating our teachers and making that much more about teachers looking internally about what they want to grow on, what they feel like is important to see within themselves to succeed, and how we as coaches and as administrators can support them in that process. Teaching can be a very lonely, isolating profession. You can feel like you are in your own world and responsible for 30 human beings that their parents have trusted you for this time period of their life, and to be able to have that support from your administrators, from your colleagues, to be able to grow your practice and feel like you are doing as best as you can to support those kids, it's very meaningful and something we really will have worked hard to support our teachers in. A little more down to brass tacks, our coffee corral is just off and running, so you can see that $30,000 mark this year. And we also have our marketing side of our high school students having grown their side of things with the articles that they have posted in these local publications. We are continuing our PLTW, that stands for Project Lead the Way, and that I am proud of. That should not be a new term. That's something we have had in place for closing on a decade here. A very real world, very project-based type of curriculum, very high interest, high engagement, and very relevant to career paths that students might be able to find in our area. So that's something we have really seen the value in. I think our kids see the value in and want to sign up for when they have choices. They are signing up for that type of curriculum, and we are continuing to meet that interest. The second one along there is similar in that vein. So our Edge Media, our design and entrepreneurship, our journalism, our robotics, these are all programs that we have developed from the ground up at our district level, and we have seen continue to grow. These have not been projects that we've started and have lasted a year and have gone by the wayside. They have continued to grow, and that's been something we have been very, very proud of as well. This year we have broadened our reach with our Business Leaders Advisory Panel. I want to make sure I got the name right. This is a large group of people who come in to help give us perspective and feedback on what they see as needs in our local community, and to ensure that we're keeping that school, community, business lines of communication open, that we're not only reaching and trying to have our opportunities for our kids, but we're also ensuring that we're hearing and listening to members of our community to make sure that we are taking their needs into account as well and their perspectives. lots of partnerships outside of our school with the Success School. This is through our Chamber of Commerce, and they are fantastic. We are so fortunate to have them as a partner in our region to help bring these opportunities for our kids. And our pathways and our work-based learning has just continued to grow as well. I will always remember being in a group with a group of high schoolers, and it was actually Dr. Jenner who was coming in, and she was asking them about if they would be interested, how many of them would want to be able to have more career involvement, more career exposure, and if they had had the opportunity to have it, would they be interested? And not a single kid didn't raise their hand. These were kids from all walks of life. These were kids who were earning honors diplomas and kids who were going to be taking different tracks, but they all wanted that career exposure. So I'm really excited that those opportunities are growing for them.
Just to give you an idea, do any of you work with QuickBooks in your companies? So we use QuickBooks with our coffee corral, and one of our managers, I got a call on the way over here this afternoon from the teacher who oversees the coffee corral, and she said, "Oh, Jackson is hot today." And I said, "What's going on?" She goes, "He is in the fight of his life with QuickBooks." And I said, "What is happening?" She said, "I'm just telling you, he's requesting a meeting because Jackson's our manager. There's a reason why Coffee Corral is going to exceed $30,000 this year, and he's a big part of that." And so I just got such a kick out of this. Here's the senior who is just in the fight of his life, he says, over QuickBooks for a student Coffee Corral. I mean, my heart just exploded. I thought, this is going to be great. I can't wait to see where this is going to go.
And what was the story you were telling about Jackson that is there some goal that they're wanting to achieve, and he's really worried about having the money to pay for it?
Yeah, they are sitting with about $18,000 in their account right now, which is fantastic. It's phenomenal. And the graphic designers who work in ILC Designs and that group of students, as well as our nutrition students who are making desserts and pastries and things like that for our coffee corral, they proposed that Jackson and the managers of Coffee Corral spend about $4,500 on some type of machine that would actually stamp the top of a cookie. So our graphic designers would create the stamp, our nutrition students would bake the cookies, and then of course they would sell them in Coffee Corral. And you would have, the steam that came out of that kid's ears, like, you want me to spend $4,500 on a cookie stamp? They had a business model for it. They had an idea of how much would come back, how much they would have to sell, but you would have thought that it was like prying $4,500 of his own money out of his hands. But that's what happens when the kids invest 2 years of their lives into this, and whether it's the Coffee Corral or it's students that cook medical in the marketing department, or it's a student who's working at Adderley Allen Insurance in town, wherever it is, they invest themselves in it. And that's why our students are so valuable to our businesses, because they form relationships. And what we know is that when people form relationships, they do a better job. And so that has been the cornerstone really of everything that we have learned through this program.
Okay, so I passed out to all of you a couple of the magazine articles. When you're starting to do something right, because people are wanting to come and find out what you're doing. We have several other school corporations that have come to look at our preschool program, to look at our student-run businesses. We have a group coming next week. But there are two magazines here, one called Connect Bloomington through the Bloomington Area Chamber of Commerce. And it's really about MCC and RBB in terms of what we're doing to provide students with opportunities for student-run businesses and other innovative learning activities. And I say this all the time, Monroe County is really a special place. And I was thinking about that today. The fact that we have so many educational opportunities for our young people. We obviously have two very high-quality public schools, We have other private educational opportunities for parents. We have Ivy Tech and IU. We're really blessed to have all these opportunities for education in Monroe County. So there's just 2 articles maybe you can read on your own time, and it would give you a little bit more deeper look at what we're doing. Looking at the goals from 2024, we talked about these pathways, the career pathways, and our goal was to have 15 by the end of the 24-25 school year, and we have actually 17. So we're exceeding that amount. Other really interesting goals that we've reached is we've increased certifications in Adobe and other career software packages. Our ILC Designs is growing with additional business opportunities, and they have over 15 interns. The Innovative Learning Center, you build something and you have a vision for it. Of course, the proof is always in the pudding. And if you walk over to our ILC any given day, it's a happening place. It's just like a business. There are people, kids, students coming and going, coming in, working on a specific project, using the audio equipment to create a podcast, using the video equipment to create videos for marketing purposes. And Jennifer was talking to you about at the beginning about high reliability schools, and I believe I mentioned that in the fall, that we are going down this path. And just to kind of review that, it's really a framework for our school corporation to define through those 5 different levels who we are as a school corporation. And we're creating a mindset from the teacher on up that whatever we're doing, whatever programs we're using, whatever strategies or practices we're doing, we have to have a mindset that we either prove it with data or we improve it. And so it's not just, well, I particularly like to use this strategy, or the teacher next door says, I like to use this piece of curriculum. Everybody is on the same page. We're walking in sync, and we are proving or improving what we're doing. And so we're creating those playbooks that I mentioned to you in the fall. And so each school is working on that, beginning with level 1, and we'll work up to level 2, 3, and so forth. Now, the whole idea behind that is that we will once and for all define who we are as a school corporation. And then when you come to work at Edgewood Schools, you'll be expected to implement that playbook. So, because if you've been around education for too long, things change around whoever's the leader at the time. So you get a new principal, you get a new assistant superintendent, or superintendent, then they start implementing what they think is important, what their vision is all about. The problem is with that, and you ask any teacher and they'll say, yeah, this happens. So with the changing of the leadership and the changing of the programs, the teachers in the classroom, their heads are spinning, because they're always, just when they start to get down the new program or the new practice, here comes a new leader, and they have to do something all over again. I remember when I was a young principal, and one of my teachers had said, Mr. Sanders, we did this about 10 years ago, and it's coming around again. And that's what teachers get used to. So now, new superintendents, new assistant superintendents, new principals, when they come in, they'll be handed that playbook, and this is what you implement. Now, does that mean they can't change anything? No. They'll use the system, once again, if I'm a new principal, I'm going to look at what we're doing, I'm going to look at the data, and then I'm going to determine whether or not that program needs to be improved or proving that it's working. Last Monday night, our school board passed a resolution saying officially that we are a high reliability schools corporation, and saying what I just said very formally, that if you're coming to work at Edgewood Schools, you're expected to implement these playbooks. That'll be really important for our culture down the road for years to come. We've taken all of our administrators, 4 out of 5 school board members, to HRS conferences, and now about 50 teachers, 45, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And every time I go, I come back with a whole brand new focus. And the last time that we went here in January, we went to San Antonio, one of the speakers said, the power is in this room. And it was a big conference hall full of teachers. And the power is within the teachers. And we had one particular teacher who was really reluctant to go. He just thought this was another new idea, new program. And he came back, and on his own, he brought teachers together to talk about what we're doing with HRS, because he got the message that the power is within the teachers to maintain that culture. So I just wanted to share that with you. As I said, I keep talking on and on. But
You're doing great. We love it. Our friendly superintendent.
you want to go over the goals for 25?
I sure can, yeah. So we do like to set goals and come back in and talk about what we've been able to accomplish and hopefully exceed. Our goals for 25-26, we want to increase our enrollment in biomedical engineering and computer science pathways. We know that's an investment that you made in us with STEM, and those are, obviously the outcomes that we're looking for, because we know that we live in the life sciences realm of Indiana, and the more students that we can graduate in those areas just turns around and benefits us right here in Monroe County and in the Indiana Uplands area. We also are adding, like I said, the micro-credentialing for technical and employability skills in grades 3 through 12. We will actually align these with our pathways, the 17 pathways that you see here, our graduate profile, and also particular businesses. So in other words, if we're looking at our biomedical pathway, we will have credentials that our students will earn in addition to those 3 classes, and work with IU Health to say, what else would you want a student to come out with this knowledge and these skills? What would they be? So that we can really align that with our current needs in the community. We'll have a new website up and running in 25-26, and I love to say up and running because we do not have to do a thing with it. It's going to be completely run by our students. So it'll tie to our school app. It will tie to all of our social media, and our high school marketing team will run that completely independently. So that'll be exciting to have that up and going. Level 1 HRS certifications will be in all of our buildings by the end of 2025. All buildings will start working toward that certification in level 2, which is instruction in high reliability schools, beginning in the fall of 25-26. And I'm hoping that when we come back to see you guys in the fall, we're able to hand you something that looks very similar to this, and it will be our district playbook. It will be the Edgewood Career Readiness Framework, and it will really pull the strings together of all the things that we've been working on over the years and really define who we are, provide measurements so that we can continue to just be transparent with our stakeholders, our parents, and show that growth over time. We're investing a lot here, and we know that these investments are worth every single ounce of energy that we're putting into it. So I'm anxious to bring that back to you in the fall, and I think that will really hopefully show you what you are making possible at Edgewood.
I want to give you some breaking news, okay?
Oh.
We are working on a project we've been working on almost a year now that really seemed like it was a storybook idea. But with every day, it's becoming more and more real. And so the vision here that we've been working on at Edgewood is partnering with our local biomedical health providers, companies like Cook Medical, Boston Scientific, IU Health, and we've had several meetings with them over the last year to work on this project where we can create a pipeline of future employees from high school right into those hard-to-fill positions. And the idea is we would provide a space on our campus and bring in facilitators from these companies to train juniors and seniors in high school so they earn certifications that they would need to have those jobs. And so here's what happens. They gain that certification in high school. They graduate. They turn 18. Then they have a direct pipeline into one of those companies. From that point, they can make some decisions of, I want to keep working on that in that particular job for the rest of my career. Or it sparks something and they decide they want to go into nursing or they want to go into some aspect of a medical field. And so they can go to Ivy Tech or IU for future degrees. And if you look on the websites of these local companies, they have a number of positions that are hard to fill. And so we want to do our part, one, to help our students have a specific plan leaving high school and going right into whatever career they want. But we also want to give back to our community and help them to develop talent and have a source of talent for their companies. We are going to visit Boston Scientific tomorrow. Oh. And we're going to be looking at one of their training labs that maybe we'll use that. And we're going to visit some other labs to design the one that would fit our needs. And so this is a project that we're working on. We have some possibility of funding with that. We're continuing to have conversations with these companies. We're looking for additional companies. We just made a connection yesterday at the ROI conference with another local company, and so we're going to explore if we can do that same plan with them. And I share this with you because I know you want to make sure that this money that you provide our school corporation is used well and has a positive impact. And I tell you these things because it does. And we're doing things, we're rethinking high school, we're doing things that are really different from your traditional high school. But it's preparing students for a future. It's giving back to our community. And this is all possible because we have money, your support, not only financially, but coming here a couple times a year and hearing your support of these endeavors. We really appreciate that. With that, any question? You ready for questions?
Absolutely. Brad has to hear us talk every month, so he probably doesn't have many.
I do want you to tell them about
Oh, the daycare.
Oh,
The
yes.
new preschool and daycare that's going in.
Exactly. So several years ago, when I first came to Edgewood, we realized that we needed to do some work with our preschool. It was at that point located in a facility on 46. So we had a three-phase plan. First phase was to move the preschool immediately into extra space we had at the time in the primary school. And that was to really provide students with an easier transition from preschool to kindergarten and help with parents having that transition. And phase 2, we added on to the primary school, and that's where the current preschoolers are at. We have about 100 preschoolers who attend that, but our waiting list is twice that much. And so we've started building a standalone preschool, which will double the size. Instead of 4 preschool classrooms, we'll have 8. They'll have a large group room, a cafeteria. And here's the cool part that I think Brad likes is we're going to have a daycare within the preschool. A daycare will be for primarily for children of staff members. So that will help with recruiting teachers that will be able to offer that. And also, if we happen to have a student, high school student who's expecting, they can continue their education and have a place for their new baby to be taken care of. And there's another component to that, and that's the pathways.
So one of our pathways is early childhood education. So our students who complete those 3 classes, their 4th year, their capstone course is actually going to be an apprenticeship that they can go back into our early childhood center, and they can, it's a program that we actually have partnered with the state on. They will receive certifications and actually complete a test at the end of all of that, that they can then take, graduate, and if they want to continue their education, a 2 or 4 year degree, they can, but they could take that right into any daycare center and be certified to be able to start the very next day. So we'll have about 5 or 6 students working in our own daycare center and our own preschool in early childhood. So hopefully those will be the same people that we will hire right back into our system, understanding the Edgewood way. So it's all coming full circle, and it's exciting to see these pieces really starting to tie together tightly.
Questions, comments? It now indicate that you're using Project Lead the Way in all of your grades, is that correct?
We do. Mm-hmm.
The program that was started up in Indianapolis and that organization up
Yeah.
there? Good.
It's one of the many curriculums that we use. It's our leading one in terms of anything related to STEM. Because it is project-based and it is so engaging for students, but we definitely supplement it with other resources like VEX Robotics. Some of your more traditional pieces in the junior high level, they still have some of the, common textbooks and that sort of thing, but I think our students definitely prefer the PLTW classes to anything else.
Piqued my interest when you said you're doing micro-credentialing for technical and employability skills in grades 3 through 12. Now, I can understand kind of 8, 9, 10, 12. How do we do this in the early grades?
I love that you asked that.
What is the mechanism that makes this work?
Yeah. So when you think about our graduate profile and you think about, going back to that Edgewood Ready, and we talk about communication, we talk about perseverance, we talk about those 6 skills that every student should have to be able to go out into the workforce. We actually have that divided down all the way down into kindergarten. So we know what that looks like for a kindergartner. We know what that looks like for a 3rd grader. We know what it looks like for a 6th grader. Now we can actually measure that. So we are actually piloting a program that starting next year with a school that we've actually followed from Chattanooga since the beginning of all of this. We really started to follow them because of their fab lab, their fabrication labs. And so they actually started this model of credentialing so that students can actually measure. I also think about my own kids. I have a sophomore and a freshman, and I think about them getting ready to leave the Edgewood nest. And what I would love is for them to have something that they can actually put on an application, put out there for colleges. What will set them apart from other, kids who are looking for direct admit to a nursing program or, direct admit into Cali School of Business. So that's our goal, and it can be done, and we're doing it all the way down into that age. It's going to look a little different for a 3rd grader than it is an 8th grader, but we also think about what that looks like when they go into our makerspace in grades 3, 4, and 5. Do they know how to run a 3D printer? Do they know how to load the filament? Do they know how to program and create something that comes straight out of their little heads? They do know how to do it, and now we're going to measure it, and we're going to say we're going to credential you for that. And it goes into a digital portfolio that takes them all the way to their senior year.
And the students themselves, too, have a lot of ownership over that portfolio where they're creating and putting their own work inside of it. So that's a neat part, too, that it's not just the teacher saying you're check marked in these different things, you're micro-credentialed in these things, but the kids understand what they are able to do, what their skills are that they're building throughout their K-12 career. And so, yes, that portfolio does go with them. They take it with them, and they can use that, like you said, to be able to apply for jobs, have their own resume being built out. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have some more questions?
All I can say is wow.
Right.
What an amazing thing to sit here and look to set things apart and help keep the skill level, the education, and the community here and starting it the way you are, because you're engaging our students and our future community leaders from day one in order to keep things, as you said, Monroe County has a unique basis of what we have educational-wise, and by starting it in the way you're doing it and thinking outside the box, you're making things that we're not only going to be as good as we've always been, but we'll be the leaders in the nation with
think so,
the
too.
help of you guys putting those forward, because I'm a little bit guys think well and are doing great things, and we greatly appreciate it. And the amount of money we give is not even an inch or close to what you guys give us care, commitment, and for the quality that you put, because you can see the passion that comes from everybody that's there.
Thank
and
you.
the results are real. So
They
thank you
really
very
are.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was promoting you this afternoon to a young woman who has little kids in school, not there, but elsewhere. So
Yes.
you got action dip there.
Yep, absolutely.
And somehow Mariah Bruce did not get to say anything. But Mariah and Megan, they do all the work.
They do. That is absolutely true. They are the magic behind all of this, the curtain that nobody sees. They do tremendous work with our teachers. Yeah.
I'm going to segue a little bit. Jen Pearl is here, and we had a session earlier today with, please tell us about, because it fits right with this.
Well, my name is Jen Pearl, and I'm the president of the Bloomington Economic Development Corporation. We serve all of Monroe County in trying to attract and grow great employment for the community. And I was sitting here taking notes while you all were talking. We had our annual meeting today. Close to 200 people came, and we had a panel of 4 companies: TASIS, Bloomington Regional Rehab Hospital, Simtra, and Phoenix, who have all collectively invested $365 million in Monroe County since 2020 and grown hundreds of jobs at the same time, and they are also still in growth mode. And one of the questions that was asked of the panel was, what do you need from us as a community? And it was workforce, workforce, workforce. It's not a secret that our community is an aging community. This is happening nationwide. We do see bright spots, though, in Ellettsville, where you see families that are growing in the 30-something range. You see great schools out there. You mentioned companies to get you all connected with. I have like 2 I can think of for your project.
Okay.
And so a couple things, one, they mentioned the work that they do with K-12 and with IU. I know that both of our school systems here are wonderful with connecting with companies. The BEDC stands ready to be a partner to all of you in all of this in any way we can help. And also wanted to give special recognition to the county as well, because when the companies were asked, what helped you land here? And they specifically, among others, mentioned county government, that they got support from various departments and council and others in that. It was on CATS, and so that link should be available, I hope, later today where we can share that. But just wanted to say thank you to this body and thank you to our schools and Just a shout out and amen to everything that you all said.
Right back at you, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Do you have any other questions? Okay, sounds great. Thank you again for having us.
Keep up the good work.
We will.
Yeah,
We will.
let's keep it going. Oh, I know. As I said, I was promoting them this afternoon. I didn't know how much I was promoting them. I didn't have all the
He did show up.
statistics.
Sitting back there quietly, like he was going to not finish the minutes.
Please let the record show that Jeff Cockrell has shown up. We will turn over the meeting to him for our third item on the agenda, the Financial Solutions Group contract.
Yes, and we're looking for a recommendation to the county commissioners who approve all service contracts for the county. There are 4 annual reports, one for each of our TIF districts, the West Side TIF district, the State Road 46 Economic Development Corridor TIF district, the Curry Profile TIF district, and the Fullerton Pike TIF district. All these agreements are with Financial Solutions Group, who has maintained has done this work for probably 2 decades for some of them, 2 decades plus. And it includes language that they'll be here at the March 26th meeting to kind of do the presentation. As a reminder, we have to get those reports to the county council and then ultimately to the state in April. So that's kind of the time frame. I think looking at these, I think that pretty much they've all remained the same price. I think the West Side TIF district may have went up $500 to $1,000, and the Curry Profile might have went up to $3,000 from $2,500, but otherwise they're kind of all in line with what we've historically seen.
Requirement that's necessary.
Yes, we have to have the annual report submitted to the state, and we do not have the internal capability to do those annual reports.
Never hurts to have an outside view of it. So, take them all together, or?
So, your will.
So, are there any other questions or comments about these?
I read
Not,
through
I
them.
will entertain
I
a
tried to read through them this afternoon, earlier before Jeff called.
Question I always have is make sure we have enough financial capabilities to do it.
I think we do.
Seems that way.
Yeah, these getting that financial report, I will say, one of the things I would like to see happen as a result of our working on this financial report is that we somehow address means or methods that we can use to avoid the kind of situation we ran into this year, where we almost ran out of money at one point. And I think we managed to get past that, but making sure that when we get this report, there's some kind of forewarning. We had a little bit, but not a great deal. And it would be good if we could see if we can't figure out a better ways. Tough year, but we managed to get through it. So I will entertain a motion to approve these 4 contracts. Would someone like to make that motion?
I so move.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 4 contracts with Financial Solutions Group for the reports for each of our 4 TIF districts. Jeff, please call the roll.
Commissioner Martin.
Yes.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Yes.
Commissioner Kiesling.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Good if I just sign these and date them?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Next up are the minutes. We have minutes for the meeting of January 15th, which was our previous meeting.
Chairman, I would like to request that it shows that I was absent rather than not at all when it does to call the roll.
In terms of the roll call, we want to show that,
I had been appointed before that, therefore.
absent. Okay. Anything else? You noted. Secretary,
That's the other reason I wanted that to be put on there, because I did.
we knew it wouldn't be a problem. All right. Any further comments about these?
No. I'll make a motion to approve.
As amended.
As amended.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as amended. Jeff, you want to call the roll?
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Cassidy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kiesling?
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Okay, claims. We have 4 claims this month. We have Butler, Fairman, and Siffert for $9,114.18. For which project? This is
Karst Farm
The
Trail.
Karst Trail.
Oh, Karst Trail. For Terracon Consultants for $1,383. Is that also Karst Trail?
That's for the Sunrise Greetings Vernal Pike Connector.
Okay, so this is the Vernal Connector. We have one for the town of Ellisville for $249,495.28, which is a biannual commitment for the purchase of a new ladder truck for the fire department there, which is covered by our member town of Ellisville. And then we have the Old National bond repayment of $123,347. And not see it of the allocation of that payment. Did
I didn't see that either.
That was in last month's packet. I have a,
Okay, all right, so it was in last month's packet then. And that pays, makes bond payments on 4 different bonds?
correct.
Yes. Okay. Okay, for a total of $383,340.37. Does anybody have any questions? Nope. Motion to approve the claims.
Move approval.
Have a motion and a second to approve the claims for Butler, Fairman, Siffert for $9,114.18, for Terracon Consultants of $1,395.21, and Old National Bank bond repayment of $123,000. 1 cent for a total of $383,340.37. Jeff, please read the roll.
Commissioner Martin? Yes. Commissioner Cassidy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kiesling?
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
All right, next, public comment. Jen, you have more to say? Okay. All right. Staff. Lisa, you want to start?
Fill us in, Lisa. What all have you been up to?
We're doing so much work out there in this.
I was going to say, so contractors technically do not have to be working from December 1st to March 31st due to the weather. So, but if there's something that can be done, they're out there. Both of the big projects, Fullerton Pike, Vernal Pike, is slated to be done in July and August. So that'll be 2 huge projects completed, so.
Jeff, do you have anything?
Yeah, I was just going to briefly touch on the budget and the claims that were just approved. If you recall at the January meeting, we tabled the Old National Bank because the numbers did not conform with the plan we had in place. And so we worked with the auditor's office, and essentially they proposed that we go ahead and do the payment out of our debt reserve fund to get it down. We're going to go ahead and do that in June and July for the next round of bond payments, which put us kind of a little close to the edge on particularly our payment for the STEM that we just heard today. And so we've worked out with the auditor's office that they are going to go ahead and make that payment in February out of one of their budget lines. And then once we get the corrections made for the debt reserve, we will do a correcting entry, which you'll see on your claims form in June and July. Once that all happens, that shows that we did, that the West Side TIF Fund is going to make that payment for those claims. And so we're just going to kind of, essentially the auditor is going to front the money, and then we're going to do a correcting entry in June, July, so for cash flow purposes. And you know, I think they're stepping up to do that because the plan wasn't followed, and part of that error was through their department. So got it all covered. It's going to, if you look at it in August, it will look like the original plan. It's just we're going to have to do a little dance before then.
The base reason is just a cash flow situation that we're running into with the commitments that we made.
Basically, we had that, you know, $80,000 that we were going to utilize for our bond payment there that we didn't, and so we've got to figure out how to bridge that gap to get through basically till settlement.
That should bring us back square in August.
Correct.
Going forward.
We just need to be cautious financially until that point.
I think you need to be cautious till the settlement comes in, and then we reevaluate. And I'm pretty sure that's what Greg's going to tell you in March when the Financial Solution Group comes in and do their annual report.
Have that well documented, what the process is going to be, who's paying what and when. Excuse me.
Yes, and I actually had included, I had printed off and I can hand it out, a kind of 4-page or 4 that kind of outlines, here's what we thought was going to happen, here's what actually occurred, and here's how we're going to fix it. And so I had printed them out, and I left the copy in the back of the room, and if I had been here on time.
Oh, here, she's got them.
On it.
No, she even made color copies for you. That's something that I typically
just
don't
juggled
do.
with some other finances from another group. I'm very conscious that we document everything we're doing.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
How many pages is it?
there's 2 sets,
Oh,
and you don't take 2 pages from each set. I think one set's the first page and one set's the second page. Correct?
I guess 2 pages.
Yeah.
Everybody gets 2 pages.
And they should be different. If they're the same, then you chose from the wrong pile twice.
No, I'm good on this because
We got one page, so
comes the other
get
one.
another one. Okay, thank you.
original plan.
Original plan, what actually occurred,
And then current situation.
current situation, amended plan. Okay.
Good, glad to see that.
Money dance.
Hats off to you guys for putting this together in
That's
a
better.
very
That's
succinct
better.
way of what occurred, so everybody's
I was
completely,
losing it.
It's all them.
that's all them. Well, it's a team effort. So I
Well,
do
we got-
appreciate that.
We got squeezed by the commitment we had to make to the state for the Vernal Pike connector. Gave us the squeeze.
It did, and a really, really late payment on another project.
That's a very, very late.
That's what really
Yes, that one hurt
caused
a
the
lot.
squeeze.
That won't happen again.
Trying to keep,
That won't happen again.
That will not happen again.
yes, trying to keep track
We're
of
not going to
that.
be as kind in the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aid, you don't get it. Okay. All right. Commissioner's comment. Tucker, do you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I'm just excited about what else is going on there.
Brad took his shot early.
Yeah, I took it early. I was until Jeff threw this out. Mariah was here to ask for a 15% increase in funding for next year. But I'm going to tell her that this might be not a good time to ask. I'll wait till after August.
I would just tell you that, we are capped at what we can give the school system, and we've always tried to push for that cap.
15%, right?
Correct.
That's because that's what we're trying to get accomplished in Ellisville. But
Chris, anything?
Nothing. Sorry, I missed the meeting last time.
Randy?
The only thing I've got in any consideration is we look at this and we go forward, the squeeze that we have based on revenues into these TIFs in order to do the projects that are needed. Other things are going to come up, and just how we look and how we are trying to identify potential TIF or something that we can do to help assist in the redevelopment of our county. Because, as we all know, these things that we build have to be maintained and redone over a period of years. And while it's always good to get shiny and new, we don't want to neglect the things that we have to maintain.
And that's actually, I've been working on my report because I know FSG will be coming through wanting our numbers or what our goals are. And what's back on the table would be the reconstruction of Curry Pike. With the increase of traffic, IDA changes, and we've kind of split that into a three-year phase, but also leaving a good cushion to build back on the TIF. So that's really, my goal is to get that back for the TIF to get very comfortable and to be able to reconstruct Curry Pike.
Okay. I have nothing new. At some point in the future, or I would like us to start doing some more examination of this idea of how to deal with our housing situation.
Right.
We made a couple of forays there that didn't work out, and I think there's still some opportunities. It's not obvious how we engage or how we manage it once we do get engaged. Continue to keep an eye out for opportunities there and see how things work out. The last thing I
have another question. I noticed that Ellisville is going to have a TIF. Is that going to affect us at any time? They're working on that. I don't know. I can't remember what it's for, but.
Well, I think Ellisville is doing 2 commercial TIFs. That's my understanding.
Correct.
That's right, yeah.
And they annexed 300 acres towards Chafin Chapel Road. So from Ellisville on up.
Is that going to affect what we're
1.5 miles,
doing?
2 miles out?
I don't know.
Not really, because we don't have any TIF area out there now, and it's all going to end up being within the corporate limits of the town of Ellisville.
Oh,
Can't
I just saw it in
TIF property
passing.
they don't own or don't have jurisdiction over.
The key.
Yeah, I know.
That was right on that fringe.
Edge.
Yeah.
I knew that
That was
part.
in Monroe County.
Yeah, so, okay,
And I
sorry.
would
Go ahead.
Just circling back to the residential TIF, I spoke with kind of bond counsel for us when we do a lot of, and he indicated that there's been a change in either legislation or how bond counsel reviews it, where you can capture some commercial increment in a residential TIF, which has always been kind of the struggle point, right? How do you generate enough revenue to fund the TIF if you can't capture some of the bigger commercial things, including the big apartment complexes? Because we were having the big debate on, it says residential TIF. To me, a residence is where you fall asleep and you lay your head and you own or you have a long-term lease on, versus the building code is, if it's more than 4 units, it's a commercial space, right? So I think that has worked its way through where it's beneficial for residential TIFs.
Just identifying the areas and what kind of infrastructure cost it would take, or be able.
Find that's my understanding at Ellisville. Like the one patio home condos for senior citizens, like that's still a self-contained residential, right? 4 units or more is considered apartments.
Yeah, 4 units or more but it's hard to tell with a condo and a senior. I mean, there's a lot of factors in there that.
No, no, that's kind of where.
You end up with these horizontal
property regimes.
property, and that gets very complicated quickly.
And that's why I would always ask for a bond counsel's opinion on something like that.
If you can't sell the bond, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, the basis of it, when we deal with what we've done in the past, where we've got private developers, we fund the bonds, they buy them back and secure them. Something of that nature in a residential TIF, would that be something, we'd have to get bond counsel, of course, to approve it.
And there you'd have to get a developer who has the sophistication to make that work, right?
Pockets available.
And the reason I ask that is we look and, eventually the sewer discussion will go away and into some of the areas. And if we're prepared accordingly for those particular areas, because as we all know, in Monroe County, we have a housing shortage of affordable single family. However, we can make that work is the thing. Now, the sophistication and the financial commitments, I mean, quite frankly, there's not enough of you, Jeff, to go around to do everything. Yeah.
Well, residential TIF is a really interesting idea. It became a lot more realistic after my conversation with bond counsel, is saying, hey, you can have a large apartment complex, kind of pay into that TIF district to kind of help subsidize kind of the less dense, less assessed value property.
You have a blank of the claims form?
Boring, because we've got a problem that's been going on for a long time. And we need that solution.
I have one back there. What that is.
Do appreciate all your hard work, though, very much.
No, don't get used to this.
It's too late.
I wondered how we now had an official scribe.
Jeff will elaborate. Jeff will elaborate.
There you go. All right.
And these other ones. All right. Any other comments? Anybody in the audience have a question, comment? Online? Nobody? Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion and a second to adjourn. We are adjourned.